Inflation is still out of control. While they said last month it came in at 5.4%, every time we go to the grocery store, it feels more like 15%. And don't even get me started with airplane tickets, where a trip home for me costed 500 before COVID and now it's 900. The Fed started raising rates to control inflation, which is fine. But what has changed from before COVID to after COVID in the way you get charged for things you need, like a house or a car? This is very interesting. So in this video, I will talk about the differences between 2019 and 2023 in terms of your money and tell you ways to stay ahead, so stay tuned. Hi there, my name is Jaime Chicalben and I welcome to my channel, The Foreigner in America, where I teach locals and foreigners everything they need to know about producing money, keeping the money, and multiplying it, specializing in the markets and real estate. So if you're someone like myself who loves money and wants to be successful and free, please subscribe to this great channel and hit that bell so you follow up on my 2 weekly videos. Also check out my blog, Instagram, and my social media under the same channel name, and take a look at my book, which is a very solid read, and I will leave a link below for you to check out. So without further ado, let's begin. The Fed has raised the federal fund rate 8 times till now, and it's sitting currently between 4.75 and 5%. This is the interest rate at which banks borrow and lend to one another. So I want you to understand how your life has changed from before COVID to now in terms of the most important ways people spend money: credit cards, mortgages or rent, and auto loan rates. So, credit card rates are now 20%. Look, there are 2 types of credit card owners that have a balance. One is the person who cannot make ends meet, has an emergency, a loss of income, a sickness, family emergency, or something that caught them off guard, and they use their credit to sustain their life. I have zero problem with that. I respect people that struggle and solve their problems one way or another. The second type is the person who simply decides to use a credit card as their personal bank, like a husband or a dad that pays for all their luxuries and things they don't need. This includes shopaholics, gamblers, people with addictions, etc. I have no sympathy for them, and I think they should step up their game and stop digging the hole any further. With the Fed rates at 5% and going up very soon, credit card balances in an all-time high, and banks still going out of business, credit card rate for people that owe money is at 20%. To put this into simpler terms, there's no investment in the universe that will give you a 20% return on your money consistently. No stock, no dividend, no real estate, nothing. So banks are making a killing on their credit card earnings, and people are sinking into debt, which they might never be able to recover unless they declare bankruptcy. But different from what people like Dave Ramsey say about credit cards, I think it's very important that you have them and not use them. When you run into an emergency, nobody will lend you money, nobody will give you a job, you finish your savings for 401k and you're still in a life or death situation. Well, credit cards can literally save your life. I'm not saying to go and get a $5,000 TV with your credit card. It's a lifesaver when everything else fails. Number 2, mortgage rates went from 2.375 to 6.66%. If you bought a house in 2019, prices were cheaper to buy anywhere, and your purchasing power was so much bigger. It's not that you were making more money per se, but your money was worth more. Let me explain. If you wanted to buy a house, you had to go to a lender to qualify, unless you were paying cash, which I don't recommend you do, and show income statements and tax returns, as well as run a credit check. With those 3 things, the credit check, the tax return, and your income statement, they can know 99% of your belongings and spending habits. A person making $80,000 a year qualified for a $400,000 home back in 2019 at a 2.8%. Right now, that same person got a tiny raise in their paycheck, probably to 85 or 90K, and now can only afford a $300,000 house at a 6.6%. That same house that was $300,000 in 2019 is now $400,000. So now you cannot afford a house and you have to go and see a house that was 250,000 before and it's now 300,000 to be able to buy. And you don't like the location of the house. You keep renting in a better place. But what is happening with rents? A house renting for $1,500 in 2019 is now renting for $2,100 in 2023. For investors who use an adjustable rate mortgage, an ARM, or get a home equity line of credit with a variable rate, beware, you will get smoked if you don't know what you're doing. In 24 months, I predict rates to be 2% over what they're today. So include that in your calculations. Just HELOCs alone went from 3.96%. Just HELOCs alone went from 3.96% to 7.76% in 1 year. Number 3, auto loans are plummeting. People are saying all over that the used car bubble burst and cars are now cheaper. But in reality, this is not true. They just went from stupid expensive to expensive. I cannot believe when I see a Honda Accord touring for $45,000. 45 grand for a Honda? The average interest rate for a 5-year loan went from 4% to 6.48% 1 year ago. But people are not stopping from pursuing the badass truck or the fast sports car. They're getting car payments as high as $1,500 a month just to keep up with the Jonases. Remember, a car is a depreciative asset, so buy what you can afford paying in cash. Someone buying a $50,000 car making $80,000 a year is not the same as someone buying the same $50,000 car and making $250,000 a year. If you have the money in cash and decide to get a loan instead and invest the money, I respect that. But getting a loan when you don't have the money nor the income to back it up is stupid. 4, college is as expensive as ever. Young people don't care about student loans today because the payment stopped and you're not accruing interest. So it's like you didn't have them altogether. But when they go back to normal again, which will happen between this year and next, you will feel the consequences. Student loans for new students went from 3.73% to 5% in 1 year. And starting July, it will be a little bit higher than 5%. So my recommendation is to only borrow what you can realistically pay back with your salary and do not postpone payments when you graduate. There is nothing more satisfying than getting a salary and knowing that it's 100% for you. Owing money before you make it is the worst thing you can do to be financially free. If you have a private student loan with a variable rate tied to the LIBOR or prime or treasury bill rate, you will be affected even more in the next 2 years until this madness stops. Not everything is negative in this story. You also get more money if you have cash in the bank. So 5, deposit rates in the bank reach 5%. If you go to a big bank, you will still not get any money for your savings. Big bank rates went up only 0.35%, so nothing. If you go to an online bank and make sure it's FDIC insured, up to $250,000, well, you can even get a 5% return on your cash. So people that have $250,000 in the cash in a bank should ask themselves one question. Why? Is it because you have millions invested and that's your cash position for emergencies and opportunities? Or are you risk adverse and you want 100% of your money available in a checking account? Whatever it is, make sure most of it is invested in a business or the stock market or the real estate or assets that appreciate in value. Cash in the bank is king when you're already rich and heavily invested. You hear all these multimillionaires say that they hold a position in cash of millions and millions of dollars, which is great. What you don't know is that most of their money is invested and not in cash. Having a year or two of expenses in cash is great for these recession times. But more than that, even at a 5%, your money is shrinking. So make sure you tie the money into an asset. After the storm, a lot of new millionaires will be formed because they invested their cash into cheap assets which recovered in value. $1 million in cash 5 years ago won't be $1 million today. So, and not in 5 years. But remember, Take control of your life and take control of your money. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and found useful information, give me a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any one of my 2 weekly videos as soon as they come out. So have a great day, don't lose any money, and I'll see you next time.